400,000 people I have coached over 32 years. Now you may say, oh, that's great, you're an expert. So next time you are in a room, it's a cakewalk. You just go talk and finish. Absolutely not. In fact, that's the interesting part. Because for me, it may be an nth session, but for the audience who is sitting there, it's the first time they're going to see me and experience what I say. And that's a problem. And why is it a problem? Because they come with preconceived ideas. And that's what the topic for today is. How to decode the mind of what goes on in the audience's mind. I am going into a room. Some company has invited me to do a session. Lots of people are sitting and I start talking. Now, audience. Who is the audience? Well, in my case, it can be a very, very diverse audience. I work with students, I work with governments, I work with senior leaders most of the time. I also work with IT and developers. So it can be all kinds of industries, seniority, and domains of expertise. And why does that work? Because what I show is independent of who you are and what is your domain. Because office tools are for unstructured work, and that's common across the globe. Never mind. The problem with that commonality is people think, office, I know, मेरे को तो आता है, सीखना ही नहीं है. Now why am I here? If you know, don't come. No, the problem is you have to come because you have to attend certain sessions. It's sometimes compulsory training. Sometimes across the year you have to show that you have attended a number of sessions. So more often than not, it is because of compulsion. Let me tell you. Online it is easier because nobody is checking what you are doing. So probably half of them are asleep or doing something else. Never mind. But in person, I can actually see. If someone is asleep, I can see. So generally people are more ashamed of falling asleep. In fact, recently a very, very disturbing and funny incident happened. I was in a room, 50 people, all senior people, and someone started coughing. And this happens. The more the audience, the more the chances of one or many people starting to cough. Now, coughing is not my mistake. But if that cough is disturbing the audience and me, I have to do something about it. So I carry mint always, 2 types generally, different types. So I quietly get up wherever I am and go to the person and give the mint. His coughing reduced, life is going on well. Now after 20 minutes, that person is fast asleep. Literally, it's in front of me and like that. I went to him and said, is there a problem? You want to take rest? Then he said, doctor, I don't know. And this was a pharma company. Whatever that mint you gave, I think it's an allergic reaction. I felt suddenly sleepy. This was an allergy which happened in front of me and the person fell asleep. That kind of thing also happens. Moral of the story, if you are a regular speaker, carry some mint with you. It will be very useful. Anyway, the issue is people have to sit. And in-person session, at least they can't hide from by doing some other stuff. So they're forced to listen to me, what to do. But still, that bias in the mind say, I know. If you are learning any other topic, whether it is AI or Python or whatever, negotiation, soft skills, you go there because you know you are not good at it and you want to learn. Office is the only topic where everyone thinks they know. And that's why it's a unique situation. So every time, whether they say it aloud or not, that thought I have to handle. So the question is, how do I handle that guaranteed resistance? Very simple. I have to allow people to think that they know, because that's what I know they think they know. But then very quickly I have to break that bubble. How do I do that? I'll tell you, not a demo, but general concept. You can also use it in any field. You know what are the common things people do in your context. So in my case, it could be Word, Excel, PowerPoint, 3 common things. And now in that audience, if I know that this is, let's say, finance, so I'll use Excel, or if it's marketing, I'll use PowerPoint. Sometimes it's a mixed audience. So I have to take at least 2 topics, 2 common activities. For example, let's say how to search in Word. Everyone says, what is there to discuss? I know how to search in Word. No. How to discuss efficiently is the question. So I'm going to do a test. Nobody has to do anything physically, but my mental test. So I say I have a file, I want to search for something. I want to go long document, I want to change the cost. Cost is there somewhere. And I want to go to that place, then I edit the number. Easy, everyone knows. Yes. How do you find the exact place where the word cost is? That also I know. Control F, find next, find next, find next. Why find next, find next? Do you know how many times you have to find next? Earlier we never knew the number of items also. Now the number is seen. But in that 20 item, is it 19th or is it 3rd? I don't know. So it's blind exploration. You are literally groping in the dark, or maybe groping in little light, and you still don't know when you are going to reach. Does that sound efficient? Have you thought about it before? And that is the problem. People have never thought about how they work because they just learned it. It is working. They don't think. Now when I show the correct way of doing it, they say, oh, this is so much better than me, and that time saving multiply by 1,000. What was I doing in the past for search? Now they are searching for search. That's a problem, no? So that's opening people's minds by showing something familiar and then showing a better approach, a method, optimal way of doing it. This approach can be used in any field, right? But the purpose of any session, training, knowledge transfer, whatever you call it, is not to spoon feed. When you're trying something, and you must try, otherwise you will not learn just by looking. When you're trying to avoid that fear that something will go wrong, keep a test file for Word, keep a test presentation, keep a test Excel file, or just create a new. But having that test file and saving it is also good, because what I learned last time is there. So it's a cumulative learning. So try out. Notice, try out, and then think, when will it help me? That thought process you learned. And now like that, you show specifics and then amplify it by converting it to generics. That's called knowledge. And that is not my knowledge. I'm not showing off. I'm telling people that if they follow this method, they don't need me or Google or YouTube. It's all there. It's up to you to explore and exploit. People are resistant, and especially for my topic. But if you approach it well, they will not only open their minds out, they will actually benefit from it. And more importantly, if they give them a generic method of learning on their own, which is like empowering them, then they will really, really worship you. Not you as a person, but the methodology. And that is what I feel should be done in any kind of education. Finally, I ask people, what is the overall feedback? One sentence, one word, one phrase. The most common I would say is called eye-opener. This is a very, very common feedback because people at all levels I'm talking about. In fact, a CFO from a very large company after my session took me aside and said, Dr. Mike. I said, no, I'm giving the mic to the AV guy. Okay. He wanted to make sure the mic is not on. And then he said, Doctor, why didn't you meet me 10 years earlier? Had I known this, I would have been CFO of 5 companies by now. So, although office looks like a trivial, necessary evil, it actually is empowerment, and people realize that, and that's called eye-opening because it's an ignored product, although every day it's used. So that's number one. Second, most common, people say, oh wow, we didn't think this will be so magical. Most people call it a magic show. Now there's nothing magical about it, but what is the magical part? What people thought was impossible and they have been struggling to do it in the worst possible way now suddenly got solved. And this is different than a magic show. Why? Because in the magic show, at the end of the show, you don't know how the magic was done. Whereas in my case, I actually shared the magic itself and the way to learn more magic. Many of these people have been using these products for a long time. And they expect their HR or IT to teach them how to use these products. So very often after the session, people go to the IT team or whoever they think was responsible for giving them this knowledge and say, "Pehle kyun nahi bataya? Why didn't you tell this to me earlier?" And very often you'll be surprised, my sessions are sponsored by Microsoft. So this question comes to Microsoft also, saying they are talking to the Microsoft account manager or whoever is the point of contact. They're saying, "Amazing session, thank you for arranging. But we have been using Office for so many years, why didn't you tell us earlier?" And that's a genuine question and there is no answer to it because from Microsoft point of view, there are thousands of features, billions of customers. They don't have the budget to go and teach every user everything. But whose onus is it? Is it HR? Is it IT? I would say don't go into that. It's up to you. So as a person, explore and exploit. So work smarter, grow faster. Follow this thought process, understand the audience. You can talk to them genuinely. You will get a lot of inputs. Utilize those inputs to your and their advantage. And whatever delivery you do will be world class. So that's it for now. Till next time. Take care.